Okay, we have another edition of the Dave and Amber podcast, and we're thrilled. We got Eric Paslay, country music singer, songwriter. I believe you're Grammy nominated. Is that correct?
I am, yeah. Look at that.
Look at that. So, welcome
Twice nominated.
twice. Did you win one yet?
No, I'm twice nominated. I've been honored twice, But no, it's pretty cool. It's great to be with you.
Yeah. So why don't you just fill in our podcast listeners about kind of your diabetes journey and tell them your story, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, no, I was 10 years old when I was diagnosed, and the story of, over at my grandmother's house, played over there a lot. I had cousins that lived around there. So I'd run out and play, and then I'd run in and chug probably a cup of root beer or Coca-Cola. Who
Hey.
knows? Go to the bathroom, come back out, repeat. And my grandmother was a nurse's assistant. And she noticed it and was like, he's really drinking a lot of fluids and going to the bathroom instantly. And so thank goodness she used to test people for diabetes. So she noticed this. So I really got diagnosed pretty quick. I mean, I really only had symptoms for maybe a few weeks or a month into it. Diagnosed
And
at
you
10,
said you were 10 years old when this happened?
10 years old.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I was old enough to know I was sick, but also young enough to not be so set in my ways, to be like, I'm fine. I'm tough, diabetes, which I think some people can have with sicknesses, but I'd rather not have diabetes. I think it's formed me in an okay way of just looking positively, hopefully, at things. But yeah, diagnosed at 10, had great doctors and nurses, Dr. Steve Ponder, and amazing people.
Oh
And
my God, Steve! I know Steve real
Yeah.
well. Yeah, oh my God, that's so funny.
sugar surfing.
Yeah,
It's
sugar
like
surfing. Yeah.
just amazing. And growing up, got to go to Texas Lions camp thanks to the Lions Club. So getting to hang out with kids with diabetes and knowing you're not alone. I always encourage parents to send their kids if they're somewhere like that. But
Did you have a family history of it? Any family history?
my great uncle had it, and he was
Okay.
diagnosed, a farmer in the middle of Texas, Rosebud, Texas, and he
Oh my
he
God.
was diagnosed probably in his 40s, I think, with type 1. And I mean, he lived to be in his 80s, but even with that, and I feel like, he didn't have as well carries a farmer in the middle of Texas, So yeah, it kind of has that, it kind of skipped the generation thing,
Yeah.
Like I know the pattern sometimes showing up in there, but yeah, and having such great doctors and nurses. And I grew up in Temple, Texas. So Scott and White was there. So it's like you either worked for the city or you worked at the hospital,
Right.
Yeah. And so up until I was 18, I just thought, well, I'll just be a pediatric endocrinologist. Like I like kids. I'm a kid with diabetes, and really up until that. But I started playing music kind of all through my life. But at 15, I really started playing guitar and writing more. And so around 18, it was like, you know what? After meeting people in the business, they're like, you're not too bad at this music thing. Like, you're kind of good. They're like, don't go to Nashville, but go to Nashville. But you shouldn't go. But you should go. But it's a terrible idea. But it'd be cool, And here we are. I actually, so through the journey, I actually get to help a lot of kids with diabetes and other things. Get to go to hospitals a lot, and I love doing that. If I could stop on the road and playing some songs, just encourage them and just let them know it's a balance. There's all kinds of things people deal with in life, and some of ours
Yeah.
is on diabetes, and it's all good.
Let me
Now-
ask you, were they shocked when you went from being an endocrinologist to a musician? Because that's quite the shift. And
Yeah,
I'm
right.
thinking, insurance, where is his insurance going
No.
to be?
The funny thing, I am very, very grateful that my parents didn't put the fire out. I think a lot of times is, well, how are you going to make money? It's like, well, the question is, how are you going to be happy is what I want to ask. So it's like, if you want to make money and be miserable, that doesn't sound like fun, So it's find something that feeds you and shelters you and hopefully gives you a good life. But I'm grateful. My parents never really were like, well, how are you going to make money? That being said, yes, I worked a couple years at Starbucks for health insurance, even though I was like almost had record deals and was signed as a professional writer. So it's, that did what I had to do, and it's worked out.
So does your entire crew that works with you when you're doing a concert or recording, whatever, do they all know? Have they learned your diabetes yet? Have they become?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, shoot, I might even sit next to someone on a plane and be like, hey, if I start acting weird, it's probably me. But I also have type 1 diabetes. No, I'm kidding. No, honestly, my control's so good now. It's not like I have diabetes in case I pass out. It's like I don't pass out, but any insulin can sneak up on you. If you're a diabetic, sometimes it just out of nowhere, what in the world, you're just plummeting. But yeah, my crew on the road, they all know I have diabetes. If we're on a long tour, everybody knows that. They'll just be like, he said something about being high or low. Like, what is Paslay doing? It's like, no, 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 no. There's times I think through life, it's like, how many times did I tell my friends I was high and their parents thought I was a stoner, like on my glucose level.
Okay, with you, if your team knows, let me just say while you're on stage, because I read a little bit about this, what numbers do they like alert you, like you need to start drinking something?
Yeah. Obviously with the Dexcom, the follow app, which is
Yeah.
incredible. My wife can watch me when I'm on the road. I'm sure she's checking me right now. I'm in England and it's our anniversary. Hey babe, happy anniversary.
Woo!
Oh, happy anniversary.
Yeah, but she can check it, and my tour manager checks it during the show, and it's kind of always say like, if I'm at 150, like arrow down, like definitely tell me in my in-ear monitors, or if it's like you're at 110 arrow down, and we always have a glass of orange juice up on stage, so the red Solo cup at my show is typically so if I'm chugging the red Solo cup, I always tell the crowd, you're gonna thank me, I did that later.
Yeah.
They think I'm plastered. No, I'm just surviving. I'm getting through Friday night for you at the end of the show.
No, are you
But-
on a pump? Are you on MDI?
Yep. On a pump. So yeah, it's great. My tandem. So my Dexcom communicates with my T-Slim, and it's incredible. It's incredible seeing how that works. I mean, definitely at morning time, I'll check, and it's like I had this little dip where it's like got down to 84, and the alarm didn't go off and wake me up at 80. And then cruise back up at 110. It really is amazing to see that, because how it's set up with mine, you cruise down and the pump just shuts off.
I
and
could have
lets
used that this morning
level
for
come
sure.
back up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it really is amazing to see that, how it's just coasting through the night at like 98 and 102 and just,
Well, and you think about too, and one of the messages that I really love about what you say, especially to kids, is that you can do anything. And the advancements in technology, CGMs in particular, we no longer have as many oh shit moments because we can, look at the situation. So it's so nice to hear you say that you can be on stage and you're going to be fine.
Oh yeah, running around and everything. And also the more I've been on it, not that I've really never had bad control over my glucose levels. I've never had terrible A1Cs and stuff, but the more, even at like 150 or 180, even when I'm falling there, I can feel it, as opposed to like it used to be, I'm like plummeting at 55. Like what is happening? And so I can feel it even when it's dropping at a good level, like even when I'm in a healthy range, it's amazing to feel that. And yeah, I mean, to be able to, I call my Dexcom, it's like my GPS of my glucose level. I literally see where I'm going, you can play your head and all of that. Like over here, I'm in England right now. We're walking everywhere. Like, and I love exploring. So like, we're going to go walk through a little village today. And it's like, I'll be able to see, okay, we're going to go from here to here. Obviously I always have a granola bar or something on me, but just to be aware of, I kind of need to be at 140 before I start walking 2 miles that way, or 180 or whatever your number needs to be, so you don't go crashing in the middle of a good time.
Our audience is not just patients with diabetes, but people who are touched by it. Can you talk about a little bit how your wife's become part of your diabetes management, and how, and again, I don't know if she's diabetic or not, but talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, my wife isn't diabetic. Her grandfather was diabetic. And definitely he had really bad, just a hard time with it. And her mom, saw that happen, and her grandmother would lose sleep over it and all kinds of things. So her family has dealt with these lows that, like, man, if there was a CGM, a Dexcom that her grandfather would have been on, I mean, her grandmother just had all kinds of, they ended up sleeping in different rooms because he would have such horrible lows, and it was just too scary for her. But so you think about all of that, like it definitely has affected her family outside of me. And yeah, I mean, she's great with it. She's just always there, supported me. We actually met each other in the music business. She's a publisher. So all my hits, four songs that I didn't record, all number one, she got recorded by other people and all that. And she's great. But I mean, it affects your family. It's traumatic when you see someone you love go into a seizure from a low glucose, or like, I mean, and at high, glucose levels, I get a little more irritable than and that's hard. That's not easy on a relationship if someone's always coasting at 300 and just irritable and angry at life,
Yeah.
when they
Right.
Yeah.
just need some insulin,
Yeah.
and control. And I think about my parents when I was growing up, like how many parents they would go in and they'd wake me up just making sure I was okay, and now to be able to just, as a parent, like I've got a 3-year-old now, I'm thinking like, if you could just swipe your phone and see if your kid's okay and just fall back to sleep, you're great. It's spoiling just the technology we have now. And it's really cool to see it coming along. And I'm spoiled that I get to use it.
So when do we get a diabetes country song? When do we get one?
Here we are. I don't
Get to
I-
writing.
right. It's like, do you have diabetes like Wilford Brimley? I do.
It's
No,
so funny
great.
that everybody remembers the Wilford Brimley commercials. Those
Yeah.
are
It's great.
classic. So tell us what's next for you. I mean, you're out touring, you're spreading the good word about diabetes. When are you coming back to the States, and where are you going to be touring here in the States?
Yeah, let's see, I've got here on tour with the Shires, 25 shows in 35 days. So we're rocking
Wow.
over here. I've been coming to Europe for the last 5 or 6 years. So I love coming over here. I also love old things. So it's like they haven't torn them all down yet. So it's great
Yeah.
to see old buildings and all of that. It's cool to see the history of, where we've been, where we are, and where we're heading. And it kind of relates to just creativity and diabetes and medicine and health. But yeah, on tour, always playing shows back in the States. Just check out my touring schedule, and you never know where I might be. Always putting out projects. I just put out a project called Even If It Breaks Your Barefoot Friday Night. And it's actually a mashup of all the hits I've written or I've sung. And so we were joking. It's like, I'm releasing an album with a guaranteed 5 number ones, 2 Grammy nominations, an ACM and a CMA nomination, all these things. Like, this guy sounds like he's full of himself, but it's like, I've just been lucky with some songs I've written, and
So
we've been doing
what do
that.
you
And
enjoy more, singing or writing?
I thought the singers wrote their stuff. I love both of them. I don't, everyone's like, so are you a singer or a songwriter? I'm like, I'm both. Like I'm Willie Nelson. I'm Taylor Swift. It's like we all write and we all sing and we all have outside songs recorded, and which is incredible. I have Keith Urban's song on the radio right now. We wrote Wild Hearts together. So that's
Oh, okay.
doing well. But I love doing it all. And we write so many songs in Nashville. To have any of them ever recorded is a million miracles. So I've had about, maybe we'll see, we might have 6 million miracles occur soon. But
Well, and when it comes to songwriting, I have the privilege to know a couple of songwriters, and we talk about the process and things like that. Does diabetes ever factor into that? Like if you're having a rough day, or something like that, which I hate if that's the case, but
yeah, obviously it's like a lot of times, the songwriter diet is we never eat lunch anymore. So it's like, between, at least in my rights, I don't know, maybe people are better at it, but you show up about 10 or 11 o'clock and halfway through, usually it takes us 4 hours, and you talk 3 of those and write 1 of them. It's always a good hang. But there's times it is frustrating if I have a lower glucose level where you're like writing and you're like, you're coasting at 90, and then you just drop below 80. And so it's a little frustrating when your creative juices go lower than you want them to be when you're trying to tie this song together. But that's what my co-writers are for. They bring it together. I never have passed out in a co-write,
So when you're not playing in the country, well, what do you listen to outside of country?
Everything. Everything. I've actually been playing. What did I do the other night? I did do a leap of levitating the other night here, and you want me, I want you, baby. I'm
yeah.
levitating. It's like, I always wanted to sing Sugar Boo. Why not? And heck, I'm in England. Maybe Dua Lipa will just walk in and sing with me, because she's just walking around, hanging out. She's not famous or anything. I figure Ed Sheeran might be here. But honestly, I've always just been drawn to the song. Like if a song's great, that's great. It's your accent and the style in which you record music is based on your zip code, is what I believe. Typically, the dinner table or the street you grew up on is the music you listen to. So everyone has a heart, everyone has a soul. All of us love music, and it affects us in one way or another. So I'm drawn to all kinds of music and love it.
Well, it's kind of ironic because we also did a podcast with this guy, Kyler Banks, who is in the musical Lion King.
Yeah.
And the guy has like a booming voice. So now
Yeah.
we're looking for a rock star who has diabetes because we've got Broadway, we got you. And
There we
so
go.
we got to find a rock star to do diabetes. So,
I
There's
love it.
a couple of them out there.
so we got to get this in because I don't know if you realize this because I know you're from Texas. Amber is from Norman, Oklahoma, and she's a
Hey,
boomer. She's a boomer Sooner. Are you a Longhorn guy or Texas Tech?
you you know what's crazy? I'm just so wired weird. Like I'm not that dude. I'm not the blue
What?
team or the
You
red
can't be from Texas and not love some football team.
Isn't it crazy?
You are that
So
person.
bizarre. I'm the kid going, they have that flag in their yard and they have that flag in their yard. I know both of them. They're cool and they hate each other because of their team. Like the
That's
thought.
ridiculous.
I mean, and it's the truth. It's I love rooting for a team, but I honestly, it's like, I don't know. The fact that I've gotten to travel at a young age and stuff, and it's like, you're all born into the team. You know, it's like if you
Yeah.
can't love your neighbor because of their team. That being said, though, I probably would typically would root for the Aggies, but then I'd root for the Longhorns if the Aggies are being jerks. You know, it's like
Yeah.
basically I go in and I go, who's the underdog? I'm going for them because I'm a musician anyway, right?
Yeah,
I am the underdog. It's like, who's been acting like a jerk? I'm going for the other guys. I don't like jerks, you know? So, I mean, it sounds like a political answer, but it really is. It's the way I'm wired. It's like, all right, I'm rooting for the guys that should win. If you're
Well,
a good dude, I hope you win the game and I hope they make a movie about you.
well, and one of the things I really like about your message, and like, and I'm relating this to football, is Mark Andrews was a Sooner, and so he has really shown kid athletes that you can be a professional football player, you can be that person, and so like you getting out on stage and showing kids and parents that you can do anything with this disease.
Yeah. Well, and I have such an unpredictable lifestyle of just, I
Yeah.
mean, my schedule is all over the place, like radio tour. You're up at 3, 4 in the morning and you've been up since 1 in the morning. So it's like no sleep. And at the time when I was doing that, I had Dexcom most of it. So to be able to follow that and really just make sure I was okay as a diabetic, I mean, it's just strenuous on anybody. So, I mean, I really am proof. It's like you can have a crazy, crazy schedule and still have a really good A1C.
well,
Um,
that seems to be like, I mean, this is a great way to kind of wrap this is because I think one of the messages you're saying is you could do anything and it doesn't, I mean, you've learned to adapt to it. I mean, we want you to have one of those little Grammy things. So, the nominations would be cool. So maybe it'll be the diabetes song that puts you over the top and actually gets you the Grammy.
Get you the
yeah.
votes, whatever you need.
The diabetic, it's the only sugar we get. It's like, no, no one wants to hear that. I don't even want to sing that again. But you never know. There'll be a sugar in there somewhere. I'm sugar
Wait,
on me.
well, there
Yeah.
is, I forgot which song it is because I listen to a lot of country, but there's one song where the guy actually says his dad is a type 1 or a diabetic in the song. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's Luke Bryan or I don't know. I remember hearing it, but it's kind of
There you
weird.
go.
But listen, it's been great having you on. Keep spreading the good word. We're rooting for you to get a Grammy, and it's been a pleasure having you.
Hey, good hanging with y'all. Thank y'all for just having all opinions come on, and we're all on this together, hanging out. And everybody, go take care of yourself. Have some good glucose levels. Spend time in range. All these
Travel.
phrases, it's